My name is Jalysa Leva, and I'm an artist in Atlanta, Georgia. I run Toto-O, which is my Filipino-American small business. We make cute small gifts that show off our culture. And I also work as an animation director for the show I created, Jalysa and Pogo, on PBS Kids. The items that we make for Toto-O are, to me, it's basically like Sanrio for Filipinos is what I want to do. So it's really cute, it's colorful, they're bright, and you know, the things are things that Filipinos would recognize and feel some kind of attachment to. So one of the items I'm making right now is a plushie, but it's pandesal, which is a bread that a lot of Filipinos eat and recognize. Toto-O means true. Well, originally, the full name was Toto-O Sari Sari Store, and the lore behind it was that the two main characters in the character brand are Peachy and Manit, and they run a Sari Sari store. And it was called Toto-O because they were trying to pass off as human even though they were animals. Mm-hmm. So they called themselves Toto-O Sari Sari Store, and they're like, we're totally real and true, and we're not animals. And they used to wear like those disguise glasses. So that used to be a whole thing, but we no longer have that, so we just have Toto-O remaining. It was also at the heels of making Jalysa and Pogo. So after making that show and kind of like reconnecting with my heritage and finding a lot of pride in being Filipino again, I wanted to make more work in that same vein. You know, being Filipino-American and living that sort of immigrant experience, you feel kind of torn between two worlds, being Filipino, being American. So you don't really feel fully American, you don't feel fully Filipino. So for a long time growing up, it was this weird balance of trying to assimilate. And it wasn't until I was kind of forced through work to like fully acknowledge and fully dive into the Filipino part of my identity that I felt like I was actually connected to it again. I wanted cute characters a lot like Sanrio, but I wanted them to also have some kind of tie to the Philippines. So one of our characters, Baboy, he's a bearded pig, which is a species in the Philippines specifically. There's different types of pigs, but one of them is like native to the islands. And we also have two human characters. There's Lolo Jr. and Tita Babes, and they're inspired by my family, and a lot of Filipinos really relate to them because everybody knows the Tita Babes. And Lolo Jr., his design looks just like one of my Lolos. It's a lot of just things that I would really want. So it's really personally driven. I'll be out shopping or I'll be browsing, you know, what's the latest stuff that a lot of people are making, or what's something that I just really, really want, and can I make it? Is it possible to make it? So like the plushies, I've always wanted to make plushies, and I love anything that's like food related. So I really was just sketching this idea for like months and trying to draw out like how would I shape it, how big would it be, what kind of colors do I want to work with. But everything starts in my sketchbook, and from there it usually gets digitized, and I work mostly in Illustrator. And then I try to find manufacturers if I need manufacturers for that product. And after, you know, samples and getting those mailed to me, checking them out, finally going to mass production, and we end up with what I have now. Depending on the product, some of them I make here, some of them get manufactured. So these are my these are my little pandesal plushies. So this is Manit, this is the hamster character, and it's got a little tail, so they all have little tails. This is Baboy, so he was the bearded pig character. He's got his little ears and swirly tail. And then this is Peachy, and Peachy is a seagull, so he's got a little tail too. And yeah, they're cute little breads, and you can hang them. So these two are ones that like I make here on my tumbler press. This design is, actually both the designs have baybayin, which is like a traditional Filipino text. And this one has Baboy on it. And this has Milkfish, one of our other characters, which is actually milk in a fish carton because milkfish. But yeah, I like to try and incorporate a lot of that sort of stuff and make sure that our ingredients are really fun. Like this has like coconut milk, but the ingredients also say like guapo and love and pogi. So there's Tagalog mixed into it, and I try to make sure the drinks and the actual items feel like they're linked back to the culture in some way. I've just always been an artist and a maker. And growing up, if you ask either of my parents, I always had a project. Like, that was my thing. I was either making a movie or I was like creating something. So I just love storytelling and art. My dad helped me a lot growing up creating things, and I would also make stuff with my brothers. It's a difficult thing to create and be a creator because you have to find out what your path is and try to stay true to it, but be flexible enough to go a different direction, all the while trying to not compare yourself to where other people are on their paths. So I think it takes someone who's really headstrong, and I think if anyone wants to pursue it, make sure you know why you're doing it, because I think this type of work is something that really tests you and your integrity. I hope that the shop gives a lot of people like me who grew up with these really cute and fun Asian brands a sense of like belonging, our own little spot in this like arena of cute things like Cow Friends and Line Friends and all of those. And I've gotten a glimpse of it already, which has been really great, and I've had people come up to me who are also Filipino at these events and say like, oh my gosh, I wish I had this growing up, like this is what I would have loved as a kid, and that's exactly why I make it. This is a lot for the younger version of me that wanted these cute things that were made by people like me for people like me.